Welcome to Key Tech. Please describe this channel if you are interested in today's video. In recent years, the global semiconductor industry has been changing rapidly, especially under the background of the United States' continued semiconductor sanctions on specific countries and regions. The ecological pattern of the entire industry is undergoing profound changes. The United States not only restricts its own companies, but also uses various means to obstruct the shipment of semiconductor companies in other countries and regions. Even if these companies suffer huge losses as a result, the United States has not stopped its suppression, but has continued to increase its pressure. In this global semiconductor game, lithography machine giant ASML and wafer foundry giant TSMC are undoubtedly the first to bear the brunt and have suffered a considerable impact. However, the two pieces of news that came recently may not even be expected by ASML and TSMC, which further aggravates the sudden change in chip restrictions. ASML is under pressure from the United States, and semiconductor equipment sales data has become the focus. According to Reuters, a U.S. media headline, U.S. lawmakers recently sent pressure letters to the top 5 semiconductor equipment manufacturers in the world. These companies include Applied Materials, Lam Research, and KLA-Tencor in the United States, as well as ASML in the Netherlands and Tokyo Electron in Japan. In the letter, the lawmakers explicitly asked these companies to provide detailed sales data in the Chinese market in order to provide reference for future legislative work. This requirement has undoubtedly brought considerable pressure to these semiconductor equipment giants. ASML, as the leader in the global lithography market, plays a vital role in the semiconductor manufacturing process. However, with the increasingly stringent export restrictions on semiconductor equipment by the United States, ASML is also facing increasing challenges. Once the United States prohibits the export of semiconductor equipment containing American technology to China, most semiconductor equipment will be restricted, and related companies will suffer huge economic losses. Although ASML is not a U.S. company, its equipment often contains American technology or components, so it is difficult to avoid being affected by U.S. sanctions. The U.S. lawmakers' request for sales data this time is likely to be in preparation for future export control policies. Once these data are used to formulate new legislation, the sales of semiconductor equipment manufacturers, such as ASML in the Chinese market, will be subject to stricter restrictions. This is undoubtedly a huge challenge for ASML, because the Chinese market occupies an important position in its global sales. How to maintain business stability under such a complex situation has become an issue that ASML needs to seriously consider. TSMC was forced to stop supplying mainland AI chip customers, and chip restrictions were further escalated. TSMC is also facing challenges like ASML. According to Reuters, citing people familiar with the matter, the United States has asked TSMC to stop shipping advanced chips for artificial intelligence applications to mainland customers. Specifically, the U.S. Department of Commerce asked TSMC to stop providing foundry services for 7 nanometers and below processes. This news is undoubtedly a heavy blow to TSMC. As the world's leading wafer foundry company, TSMC's advanced process technology enjoys a high reputation worldwide. However, as the United States continues to escalate its crackdown on the semiconductor industry, TSMC has to face more and more restrictions. This time, the United States asked TSMC to cut off supply to mainland AI chip customers, which will not only affect TSMC's business in the Chinese market, but may also have a certain impact on its global supply chain. It is worth noting that in TSMC's third quarter revenue this year, mainland customers accounted for only 11%, while American customers accounted for 71%. This data reflects TSMC's high dependence on the US market. Therefore, in the face of the United States requirements, TSMC had to compromise. Although TSMC emphasized in its official response that it is a law-abiding company and is committed to complying with all applicable rules and regulations, including applicable export controls, this statement reveals its helplessness and compromise in the face of US pressure. For TSMC, cutting off supply to mainland AI chip customers will not only affect its reputation and position in the Chinese market, but may also have an adverse impact on its future business development. However, under the current situation, TSMC seems to have no better choice. On the one hand, it needs to comply with the US export control policy. On the other hand, it also needs to maintain its cooperative relationship with US customers. This dilemma has put TSMC in a dilemma. Semiconductor giants are treading on thin ice and coping with uncontrollable situations. As the US crackdown on the semiconductor industry continues to escalate, global semiconductor giants are beginning to tread on thin ice. ASML and TSMC are just two examples. In this global semiconductor game, more and more companies are beginning to feel the pressure and threat from the United States. How to maintain business stability and development under this uncontrollable situation has become a problem that these companies need to seriously consider. For ASML, it needs to actively seek alternative technologies and markets to reduce its dependence on the United States. At the same time, it also needs to strengthen communication and collaboration with partners to jointly cope with challenges. For TSMC, it needs to find new markets and business areas to reduce risks while maintaining cooperative relationships with American customers. In addition, TSMC also needs to strengthen independent research and development and innovation to enhance its competitiveness. In short, as the United States continues to escalate its crackdown on the semiconductor industry, global semiconductor giants are facing unprecedented challenges and opportunities. At this critical moment, these companies need to remain calm and rational to cope with uncontrollable situations. At the same time, they also need to strengthen cooperation and innovation to jointly promote the healthy development of the global semiconductor industry. Only in this way can they remain invincible in the fierce competition and achieve sustainable development.